Chapter 62. Nathan's POV. I woke up stiff, with Max lying across my chest. My big boy, I stroked his hair. I don't think me and Christian have ever been more content. But my back is wrecked, he must have been there for hours. I look over and I see Dawson and Jackson in a similar position. Dawson is mouthing the word help to me. But what exactly can I do? I am trapped by a mini version of myself. It's only when Eden stirs do the boys wake up. Max drooled on my chest. I knew I should have worn a t-shirt to sleep in, but I get hot during the night. Sorry. Max says, wiping his mouth. Summer just laughs. Her laugh is like music to my ears. I would have gladly marked her last night. But when Eden asked for a family sleepover, I couldn't deny that pretty face. I was already whipped, and I know it. We all got up and had breakfast. I get a few sneaky kisses from Summer while the kids aren't looking. Dawson, getting jealous, gets a few too. I really could get used to family life. But we have a busy few days ahead. Someone needs to pay for what they did to our mate. I know Summer has formulated a plan. I don't know the details, but she has a plan. I felt absolutely devastated as I had to leave the kids and her this morning. This had better be a one-off. I told Dawson as I left. Adam wouldn't let me travel alone, not after what happened last time. Rain traveled in an SUV behind us, with most of the Royal Guard. It was decided to leave the rest of the Royal Guard here at Crystal Lake Pack, to protect our kids. Isaac also agreed to stay. I know I should be nervous trusting a rogue with my children, but he has proven himself more than enough times. In fact, he saved Jackson and Summer. I can't think of many men that would have accomplished that. Summer felt confident they wouldn't need any support at Forest Green Pack, as she was traveling with Dawson, Gail, and Elizabeth. Then, when they got to the pack, the rest of her family would be there. Not long afterwards, myself, Adam and Rain would be joining them. She doesn't have much faith in Adam. For some reason, I will need to find out why. But it's not important right now, as I have faith in him. He has always been a loyal friend and a great beta. It took hours to get to Blood Moon Pack, but I was motivated. When we pulled up to the territory border, they originally wouldn't let us enter. What do they have to hide? Adam asked. I was wondering about that myself. But I already know a few things that they are hiding, and I suspect there is a lot more. Full investigation afterwards? My beta asks. I nodded. A full investigation? Eventually, we are allowed entry, but only with an escort. What don't they want us to see? I thought to myself. We pulled up to the pack house. Outside waiting for us was a large number of men, must be around 40 if I had to guess. I think there are more in the house. Adam says, eyeing up the surroundings. I guess they are not happy that we are here. I said to Adam. We waited for Rain to join us before we approached. Your Majesty, what do we owe the honor of this unexpected visit? Alpha Rick said. I noticed the snide remark about this being an unexpected visit. He knows something is off already. My sister was tortured and shot a few days ago. Rain said with a tone of disgust. The car that was used to transport some of her attackers. It was a hire car from the human world and it was registered to pack member of yours. So, Your Majesty and the whole of the Royal Guard decided to descend on my pack because of an attack on a she-wolf? I want to kill him. He is extremely dismissive of a she-wolf. He doesn't know she is my she-wolf. Actually, Alpha Rick. The general here was coming alone, but I don't trust him to do the right thing when his emotions are so high, he can act a little rash. I decided to support my friend in his investigation. Obviously, the royal guard followed. I said in Rain's defense. So, the general of the royal guard came here to confront a pack member of mine. May I ask when this attack happened? During the blue moon, just a few days ago. Rain responded. It can't be any member of my pack. I have rules that prevent anyone from leaving the pack during the blue moon, for their safety, of course. I even brought my grandchild here, for the duration as I was worried for her safety. He paused when he realized he had just insulted another alpha. I felt she could spend some quality time with her grandpa at the same time. We protect our own here at Blood Moon Pack. Interesting, Carly has a child, but she wasn't with her recently. Adam's phone pinged as he had received a text message. He let me know we now have all of the DNA results that we wanted. I respect that, Alpha Rick, but the car was registered to Gamma Darren and I am chasing down all the leads. Rain says. I didn't know who Gamma Darren was, but when all eyes turned to him, I could have easily figured it out. Gamma Darren arranges for any outside services, so I would not be surprised that a car was registered in his name. What I find strange is that I thought all cars had been returned recently. There was maybe a clerical error at the dealership. I will look into it, Alpha. Gamma Darren says to Alpha Rick. Do you have the license plate number, General? Yes, I do. Here you go. Rain hands over a slip of paper to him. So, now you have wasted your time coming here, which has caused me great concern. Can I assume you are leaving? Alpha Rick asks. He really wants to get rid of us, doesn't he? Christian asks. I would agree with you, it would have been a waste of the general's time. But the mercenaries the attackers hired actually described one of the attackers he dealt with. In great detail, in fact, and he even gave us his name. Really? Now he is getting annoyed. May I ask who these mercenaries have identified? Beta Vincent. Well, that is ridiculous, Beta Vincent was here the entire time. I personally spent several hours at multiple times with him every day of the blue moon. So, your trustworthy mercenaries must have been wrong. Oh, wait, mercenaries go wherever the money is. Maybe someone paid them to say that it was him. Probably, but I will track down every lead. Did anyone else here in the pack see Beta Vincent every day, during the blue moon? A large number of men raised their hands. See, it can't have been him, lots of people saw him. Can I get a statement from you all, as part of my investigation? The more the better, not only was she my sister, but she was a pack doctor. That's a shame. Female pack doctors are extremely rare. Yes, they are, and her Alpha is threatening war against anyone that had any involvement. I don't suppose Beta Vincent would accompany us, in order to clear himself and the pack of any wrongdoings. I mean, it is likely the mercenary pointing the finger will revoke his statement, if he sees Beta Vincent face to face. Alpha Rick stood with confidence. We do enjoy a good fight, but we would not fare well against the General and the Royal Guard. You will have all of our statements and Beta Vincent will accompany you. We have nothing to hide. Beta Vincent nodded. That was easy enough. In fact, I will come with him, make sure my pack name is not tarnished, if that is okay, Your Majesty? More than fine, we have one more stop to make along the way though. Chapter 63. Summer's POV. It was our first family breakfast. I don't know who was more excited, the kids, my mates, or me. Although there is nothing that I could have done anything about it. But it made me realize what my kids have been missing out on all of these years. It was fun playing with Dawson and Nathan as well, sneaking around grabbing kisses here and there when the kids weren't looking. I wondered what else we could get up to while the kids aren't looking. But that is a challenge for another day. Nathan had to leave soon, as he was traveling further than us. He was going to the Blood Moon Pack, whereas we were going to the Forest Green Pack. The kids were staying behind with Evie. He said goodbye to the kids, and I walked him to the door. Our goodbye kiss ended up with us being in a coat closet with my legs wrapped around my waist. I was so turned on, I orgasmed while we were kissing and dry humping his erect cock. "Sorry," I said breathlessly. It's been a while since I have been touched by anyone. No one wanted to date a single mom. He leaned forward and kissed me. "Never be sorry for that, and you are definitely not single anymore." He kissed my nose as we walked out. With that, he left. As I walked back to the kitchen, Dawson sniffed the air before coming around the counter giving me a kiss. "You smell like you had fun?" he said, with a wink which made me smile. I coughed as Eden made an appearance. "Sweetie, why don't you go and play while Mommy has a shower?" She ran off after grabbing a pancake. "Would Daddy like to join me for a few minutes?" I whispered in Dawson's ear. He was by my side dragging me to the bathroom. "Don't need to ask me twice," he said and turned the shower on. He came back and was kissing me hot and heavy when there was a knock on the door. "I need a pee, Mommy," Jackson was shouting through the door. "Can you wait a few minutes, sweetie? Mommy will be quick." "Yeah. We had best be quick then," Dawson said as he lifted me onto the countertop. Kissing me, he put his hands up my top and started fondling my breasts. Oh, how neglected they have been. I absolutely love the sensation when he lets go of one of them and strokes my clit on top of my panties. I just exploded. "I definitely need a shower now," I said when I calmed down. He grins at me, pleased with his work. No orgasms in 8 years and 2 in one morning. A woman could get used to this. A woman better had, he says, smiling as he lifts me off the counter. I quickly showed, as I knew Jackson would be back any minute. When I get out, I look at my beeping phone. Luna Lucy texted me telling me that Lorraine would be within an hour. Lorraine? Who is Lorraine? I thought. But I am sure I will find out within the hour. As it turns out, Lorraine was a hairdresser. Luna Lucy organized for my hair to be cut professionally before we left. I hadn't noticed and no one mentioned it, but Carly had left me with a hack job of a haircut. Knowing Luna Lucy, she would have sent her to make me look more presentable to the kids. It was the only physical thing left that they would have been able to see since my kidnapping. Alexis worked wonders repairing my body. Lorraine worked wonders, making me look presentable. It was a bit short, but she did well with what hair I had left. Overall, the kids were so happy with my new look, and that is what was important. We all kissed the kids and Dawson was made to pinky promise that we would all return. It was adorable. We left for the long drive to Forest Green Pack. We were about halfway there, when I started getting anxious and nauseous. Not about confronting Carly, but about seeing my mom and dad after all of this time. I haven't seen them since I left. We stopped at a diner until I was feeling better. Then we all piled in the car again and Gail made a comment about the pretend Luna finally getting what she deserved. It would have been a pleasant drive if I hadn't been working myself up for a confrontation. We weren't far away from the territory when we passed over a red wooden bridge. Elizabeth started breathing heavily and pushed open the car door, while the car was still driving. I think she would have jumped out as well if Gail hadn't slammed on the brakes. "What is going on?" Dawson demanded to know. She just got out of the car, collapsing to her knees crying, hysterically. I'm sorry, Summer." I hugged my hysterical friend. She just kept repeating that she was sorry. The guys were looking at her. I pulled her away. Her face was bright red and covered in tears and snot. I'm sorry, Summer. I didn't know. I'm sorry. What are you sorry for, Elizabeth? I asked. I can't. I am so sorry. How will you ever forgive me? She starts freaking out again and hugging me. What are you sorry for? I ask again. Elizabeth has been by my side for years. She has been a great friend and an amazing colleague. What could be upsetting her so much? I have never seen her like this. The bridge. She sobbed, gesturing towards the bridge. I'm sorry, Summer. Something is upsetting her about the bridge, obviously, but what? Elizabeth, you need to calm down and tell me what is wrong. She calmed down a little. I didn't know. I honestly didn't know. I would never have. She put her face in her hands. I lifted her face. Tell me. She nodded her head, while tears still ran down her face. Do you remember a few years ago when I was asked to go and help a family member with the delivery of her baby? Yeah, we had a good laugh at how special and prissy she was. I smiled at her. I remember her telling me about her relative at the time. I passed over that bridge on my way to her pack. It was the next territory over. My relative is the future Luna. She started wailing again. She found you because of me. I didn't know. I'm sorry. This time I hugged her tighter. The look on the guys' faces must have reflected my own. I didn't know what to make of the situation. I could have taken it as a betrayal, but I know Elizabeth, and she doesn't have a bad bone in her body. She is right though, she would never have done anything to intentionally hurt me. She nearly killed you because of me. I told her where you were. No one knew I was from Forest Green Pack, or the reason I left. So you wouldn't have known it was a secret. Elizabeth, I was hurt and nearly killed. But you saved me. If you wanted me dead or were in cahoots with her, I wouldn't be here today. You were with her every step of the way. Gail interrupted. Her crying is slowing. Now she realizes that I am not angry at her. But she is a bit solemn, but she is okay. I gave her one last hug and smile. We continue the journey and I hold her hand all of the way. She needs me now, just like when I needed her. Chapter 64. Gail's POV. I don't know Elizabeth that well, but I know she wouldn't knowingly hurt Summer. What I do know is that she was as emotional as anyone when Summer's lifeless body was brought into the hospital. I know how her heart broke when Summer's heart stopped. I know she worked endlessly when Summer needed her. She played a key part in saving her life. I know for a fact that the hysterical woman in front of me confessing to be the cause of all of this is not at fault. I highly doubt she knew about Summer's past. Not even Evie did, and she practically lived with her. Elizabeth didn't know where we were going until we passed that bridge. The other thing I know is that Summer is not blaming her for anything, and that is good enough for me. I called my dad yesterday, telling him that I would be coming home today, and would be bringing a few friends with me. One of them is very important. I didn't want to give anything away. If he knew what we were going to do, he would have to inform Alpha Stan, for the safety of his family and of the packs. He is still Gamma after all. Elizabeth and Summer were dressed in similar clothes, so if anyone thinks they saw Summer from a distance, of course, we could convince anyone it was Elizabeth. It was decided that Elizabeth would go into the house before Summer for this reason. Curtains would be twitching at the sight of a different car pulling up. Mom and Dad do have some nosy neighbors. We pulled up outside of the house. I will go first and make sure they are alone in there. I will ring your phone when it's time for you to come in, I told Elizabeth. The car windows are tinted, so I am not worried about anyone seeing Summer. Before I leave, Dawson's phone pinged. Nathan is on his way with a voluntary Alpha Rick and Beta Vincent. They should be a few hours, he tells us. I walked into my mom and dad's house and found them sitting in the kitchen. They both looked in my direction. How are the best parents in the world doing? I asked. My mom jumped up in shock. Runs over to me and just hugs me. I hugged her too, she smells amazing. You don't realize how much you have missed someone until you can't hug them every day. As she releases me, she slaps me. What, are you too old to call your mom? Then she pulls me in for another hug. I know she missed me. I spoke to Dad yesterday, I told her, rubbing my face where she smacked me. It didn't hurt, I was just shocked. I didn't tell her in case you didn't turn up. I didn't want to get her hopes up. He gets up and gives me a hug too. His response earns him a death stare from both me and my mom. So where is this special friend you said you were bringing? He asks, before he gets an earful. What? Special friend? My mom says with a sly grin. I rang Dawson's phone. A minute later, Elizabeth walks through the door. She barely gets a foot in the kitchen before Mom is hugging her, gushing about how beautiful she is, and she always wanted her boys to meet someone as special as her. I laughed, but Dad just stared at her. I know you, don't I? Yeah, I was here a few years ago, I helped with Carly's labor. That's right, Elizabeth. Isn't it? He asks. Yeah. She smiled, realizing he remembered her. So, you missed each other when you were here. But at least you managed to find each other, eventually. You're so lucky, Gail. She is a beauty. Mom is still gushing over Elizabeth. Elizabeth just looked at me, I looked at her. Then the penny dropped. Mom thinks we are mates. Mom. Elizabeth isn't my mate. What? Elizabeth isn't my mate, Evie is. Who's Evie and where is she? She says, angrily looking at me. I mean, you are beautiful, but where is my future daughter-in-law? She's back at the Crystal Lake Pack, she is working. I rang Dawson's phone, hanging up after a few rings. So why is Elizabeth here? Dad finally interjects. She is here for support and distraction. A distraction for what? Mom asked. Hi, Mommy. Hi, Daddy. Summer said. They hadn't noticed her walking into the house. Mom just stood there staring, before crying as she ran over to Summer. My baby is home. Davis, our baby is home. Pulling her into a hug. I can see that, Carol. He said while trying to look stoic for a second, but his happiness won and he started tearing up as he put his arms around both of them. When they finally released Summer, which wasn't for a while, we told them what they needed to know about what they had done to Summer. I am going to annihilate that bitch, our mom announced, getting up from the table. Sit down, Carol. I think someone has a plan. Ever so perceptive, Daddy. Summer said. Nathan is on his way here. Who is Nathan? Mom asked. That's when we remembered Dawson was still in the car. So, I gave him a call. When he came in, Summer gave him a hug. I apologized to him for the delay. Mom, Dad, this is my mate Dawson. They both beamed before Mom pulled him in for a hug. My baby has come home and brought her mate with her. What a day! She says, smiling. Has anyone told you that you are the spitting image of the king? Our Rain is general of the royal guard, you know. He protects the king. Dad says while shaking his hand. Summer just snickers. Actually, Dawson started saying. It's a shame your mate couldn't have made it, Gail. It would have been nice to have met her too. Mom said. She wanted to come, but like I said, she is working. Why, what does she do? Dad inquired. She's a nanny. Actually, she is Summer's nanny. Mom dropped the cups that she was carrying. Summer's nanny. That means your maid is a nanny to Summer's baby. Mom was blubbering again. A baby. My baby has a baby, I'm a grandma. Davis, we have grandchildren. Actually, 3, Mom. Summer said, looking at Dawson, smiling. And they aren't exactly babies anymore. They are 7 years old. I thought she was going to faint, but she just sits down with a shock. I guess today has been a bit overwhelming for them. But it's not over yet, and it's going to get more stressful for them both. Chapter 65. Summer's POV. I approached the house and as quietly as I could I opened the front door. Walking towards the voices in the kitchen. As I got closer, I heard her voice, the voice I had grown up with. How I missed the sound of it. It was even funnier that she was having a go at Gail. Hi, Mommy. Hi, Daddy. The simplest word in the world, but they had such a huge impact right then. I cried as they held me. I never wanted to let go. When I introduced Dawson as my mate, Mom was ecstatic, and Daddy compared him to the king. Dawson tried to explain, but he was cut off by Mom having a go at Gail. Some things never change. Gail had always been the easiest target amongst us. That's when it came out about Evie being my nanny. Mom pieced it together at once. My baby has a baby? That's when I told her that I actually had 3 children and that they are 7 years old. She went pale and had to sit down. Elizabeth, being her attentive self, got her some water while Mom absorbed the news. We talked for a while when Gail pointed to his watch, symbolizing that we had to go. We all got into Dawson's SUV and drove to the pack house. I could see her. The bitch that had me tortured, shot me and left me for dead, I could fucking see her. Alexis wanted nothing more than to rip her to shreds, and part of me wanted to let her as well. She was outside having a picnic with a toddler. It must be the child Elizabeth told me about. She can't be here to see this. I told everyone in the SUV. Regardless of what her mother had done, she is innocent. Mom, you need you to get the kid inside. How do you think I will be able to do that? Have you seen how many guards there are around the place? She asked sarcastically. Elizabeth jumped out of the car. I will cause a distraction. Mom and Dad followed her. I watched as Elizabeth approached Carly. Carly had a huge smile on her face and was speaking as she approached. Elizabeth just started smacking her repeatedly. Warriors were charging towards Elizabeth, some of them had shifted. Christ, she is going to be killed, Dawson said, panicking. I knew at that moment how angry she was at Carly. Mom grabbed the toddler and ran towards the pack house. Nobody questioned her as she was running in the right direction. Dad grabbed Elizabeth and restrained her, which stopped anyone attacking her, thankfully. I can't hear what is being said, but Dad starts dragging Elizabeth towards the pack house. Where Alpha Stan, Beta Scott, Blake and Zane are stood. They ran out to see the commotion which was on their doorstep. She didn't half cause a distraction. I said to Dawson. Carly is acting like she has just taken the beating of her life when she runs into Alpha Stan's arms. Which is strange because I thought it would have been her mate's arms, not their dad's. Gail's POV. Showtime, I hope the others are nearly here. I said to Dawson. They will be here shortly. He replied. I climbed out of the car and rushed to Elizabeth's side. She's yelling at how Carly betrayed her and she deserves death for what she has done. I pushed my way forward and helped her to her feet. Everyone listening is shocked at the words that are coming out of Elizabeth's mouth. Elizabeth, this is unlike you. Alpha Stan claims. Trying to defuse the situation. She held on to me, digging her nails into my arms. Well, that was before that bitch put 2 bullets in my best friend. Then she lunged at her again. That woman was angry. The crowd around us had grown and I could just about see autumn red hair. I didn't do anything, Alpha Stan. I have only left the pack once this year, to go and visit my dad. She is right, Elizabeth. Carly hasn't left the pack. He says calmly. But she left Forest Green to go to the Blood Moon pack. When was that? I asked. Oh, let me guess, during the Blue Moon perhaps? Actually, yes. He responds, looking confused. I was in the Blood Moon pack during the Blue Moon. Alpha Stan. I took Freya and spent some time with my dad. He will swear to it. That's good to know, because if you are found to be lying, the consequences will be severe. Who is it she is supposed to have shot? Blake asked, curiously. Now it was time to throw some fuel on the fire. She shot a doctor in the Crystal Lake pack. I paused for dramatic effect. Dr. Summer Blackwood, my sister. The crowd took a united gasp as the majority of them knew Summer. After which came an unholy growl. You shot my sister? Autumn pushed her way forward. You shot my fucking sister? She started charging towards Carly. I don't even think the Alpha Stan could have stopped her as she targeted Carly. She grabbed her hair and started ripping it out at the roots, followed by several punches to her face and stomach. I couldn't see what was happening, but Autumn had to be dragged off her. There was hair and blood all over the place. Autumn was still kicking and screaming that she wasn't finished and that she was going to kill Carly for what she had done. Carly was a mess, but Autumn wanted to mess her up even more. It took 4 warriors to restrain Autumn, but I am not sure that was enough as they were struggling. Autumn was the quietest sibling, but her wolf was ferocious. I always thought it was a stereotype that redheads are hot-headed. Autumn was so calm, but right now I stand corrected as that redhead should come with a warning. I wouldn't cross her with the rage she is portraying. I would dread to have seen what her wolf would have done. Chapter 66. My truck was the first to arrive at Forest Green Pack, followed by my convoy. Nathan and Adam were somewhere in between and a car with Alpha Rick and Beta Vincent back there somewhere. Someone else would normally have driven in first. But I knew my way around this place like the back of my hand, so I offered. I saw a large crowd of people outside of the pack house. I guess Summer and Gail got started without us. I jumped out and made my way to the front of the crowd, where I saw Elizabeth holding on to Gail, Carly in the arms of Alpha Stan and Autumn being restrained by at least 5 warriors, and they were struggling. She was going berserk and Carly was a mess. What's going on here? I asked Alpha Stan. I asked, thinking I already knew the answer. But it is Carly that fills me in with the answer. That bitch pointing at Elizabeth attacked me while I was playing with my daughter. She made a dramatic sobbing noise. He said I shot his sister. She pointed at Gale. Then she attacked me, pointing at Autumn, and tried to kill me. She started crying onto Alpha Stan's shoulder. I don't think she knows I am Summer's brother, but I suppose I left before she arrived. I'll do more than try, if I can get out of their grip, you waste of fucking space. I'm guessing Autumn is mad. But I wasn't here, General. I was with my dad at the Blood Moon Pack for the duration of the Blue Moon. He will tell you that. I don't deserve to be treated this way. I am the future Luna of this pack. Now she is back to crying again. What a coincidence. I said, her eyes staring in my direction now that I had piqued her interest. I have just come from the Blood Moon Pack, where Alpha Rick was telling all about the special time he got to spend with his grandchild. Strange though, he never mentioned you were there once, Carly. Lying bitch. Autumn screamed as she started breaking free from the warrior's grip. I spent all my time with him. Just me, him and Freya. So, it was just you three for the full Blue Moon period, he never left? I asked, since Alpha Rick said he spent time with Beta Vincent. Yes, we locked ourselves in the Alpha Suite. She said confidently. We had a lot of quality time together. Why are you asking me all these stupid questions? I have done nothing wrong. She went back to blubbering with fake tears for everyone to see. I sent a message to one of my men who escorted Alpha Rick to the pack house. He took one look at Carly and rushed to her side. Who did this to you, baby? She did, pointing at Autumn, who still wasn't backing down to the warriors. He shifted in seconds and was charging towards her. I was about to shift when he snapped the neck of one of the warriors that were holding her in place. There were screams, but not Autumn's. Autumn was ready to take on his wolf with her bare hands. She would have lost the fight, but she would have given it her all. But she didn't need to, as a large brown wolf went barreling into the side of him, sending him flying. Is that? It is, that's Cooper, Adam's wolf. Cooper padded over to Autumn's side and growled at the remaining warriors, who let her go instantly, and she patted Cooper's head. He must have liked it, which way he hung his tongue out. Seriously, not now. This fated mate stuff couldn't wait another day. What is the goddess playing at? We are seeking revenge right now. Alpha Rick was human again and was brought in front of Alpha Stan, while Carly was still sobbing. Tell them, Daddy, tell them all. I was with you and Freya during the Blue Moon. All the time, we never left the Alpha Suite. Did we, Daddy? He looked around confused. She is right. We never left the Alpha Suite, the entire time she was there. He announced proudly while putting some clothes on. Actually, Alpha Rick, I have a written statement from you stating that you spent the entire time with your grandchild. But nowhere in that statement is Carly mentioned, nor have you mentioned she was ever in the pack. You're mistaken, General. He said. I have mentioned many times that Carly was there. I look at Copper, who is shaking his head. I don't believe so, Alpha Rick. Either one or both of them is lying. I wonder if Beta Vincent could shed any light on the situation. One of my guards guides Beta Vincent to us. Beta Vincent Knight, nice of you to join us. I heard a woman gasp, but I ignored it. You said you were at the Blood Moon Pack during the Blue Moon. I have multiple people telling me that, including your Alpha. Did you see Carly there? Of course, I did. He barked. I spent lots of time with the Alpha and his family. They are trapping themselves in lies. And before she makes her appearance, I want to instill a touch of fear in Carly, see if she crumbles. Sure. I guess your job role means you protect the Alpha and his family. I mean, why have a beta and do it yourself? Summer told me to slip that in somewhere, as Carly had said it to her. Carly's eyes widened. She knew the words I had spoken. She started blubbering again. I didn't mean to, Daddy. She brought it on herself. She did it. I just dealt with the situation. I'm sorry, Daddy. Don't let them hurt me. Alpha Rick, completely oblivious to what was going on, just looked at her. What did you do? Nothing that any member of the Blood Moon Pack wouldn't have done, Daddy. Shut up, Carly, they know nothing unless you tell them. Beta Vincent snapped. Alpha Rick, looking between the two of them, knew they had just owned up to something. I lied, I didn't see either of them during the blue moon. I spent the entire time with my granddaughter. Elizabeth stepped forward and walked straight up to Beta Vincent. He looked quite calm as he stared at her. Not another fated mate match. But she had a look of disgust on her face. She held onto his shoulders and thrust her knee into his groin, hard. If I didn't hate him so much, I would have felt sorry for him. He went down gasping for breath. I, Elizabeth Thorne of Crystal Lake Pack, reject the arsehole that is Beta Vincent Knight of Blood Moon Pack as my mate. Then she kicked him in the face. Now accept my rejection or I will do it again and again until you do. In between breaths he accepted, he shouted afterwards, like he had just been stabbed. She started to sway, so I rushed in and caught her. Gosh, she smelled sweet. I had never noticed it before, but I did now. She snuggled into my arms. Mate. Zen told me. No way, the goddess doesn't work that fast, does she? I was staring at her as she was staring at me happily. That is when Summer appeared next to me. Chapter 67. Beta Vincent's POV. I can't believe she was his sister. I electrocuted and stabbed her and she was his sister. The General of the Royal Guard's fucking sister. If he finds out I had anything to do with her torture, he will rip me apart and fuck knows what he will do if he finds out I gave Carly the gun that shot her. The only thing I have going in my favor right now is that Alpha Rick is giving me an alibi, as are the rest of the pack. There is nothing to link me to the scene and no one other than Carly, Shane and Jack were there with me. They wouldn't say anything against me, not without dropping themselves in it. Thankfully, the bitch is dead. I don't even know why Carly wanted her dead. Otherwise, I would be royally screwed, especially with the Wolf King accompanying the general. I can't believe Carly got me involved in all of this. She is supposed to have confirmed all of this, but as always, she has done half a fucking job as usual. Now I feel that she has screwed me over. When I am asked to go with the general to clear my name against the mercenaries I hired. I had to go, if only to kill them. They need to be silenced. I still have some of that injectable wolfsbane. I could make it look like they just died. Alpha Rick offered to come with me, as it is his pack on the brink of being tarnished. He is a conniving man and has the ability to manipulate situations in his favor. It is useful to have him by my side. We gather our things and we are driven in an SUV with some of the guards. I dismiss the feeling that we are being treated like prisoners. We were told the general had another stop to make. It was only when Alpha Rick asked our driver, "What are we doing here?" Did I question where we were? Forest Green Pack, Carly's pack. He started getting irate until he was allowed out of the car, but I had to stay. We were fucking prisoners. How could I have been so naive? What exactly do they think they know? I was seething by the time I was allowed out of the car, and raging by the time I was escorted to the pack house. Carly was a mess and Alpha Rick had obviously shifted. Mate. Brandon said in my head. Mate is here. I heard someone gasp, but I couldn't see where it came from. But I have bigger things to worry about right now. There was a string of questions, before Alpha Rick dropped us both in it that he had been lying and he hadn't seen us, during the blue moon. Fuck. That was when the most beautiful woman I have ever seen stepped forward and held me by the shoulders. She looked so elegant, with simple clothes, and she was the definition of pure beauty. I felt blessed to have a mate as stunning as her. Then she kneed me in my crotch so hard, I think my balls cracked. I, Elizabeth Knight of Crystal Lake Pack, reject the arsehole, which is Beta Vincent Thorne of Blood Moon Pack, as my mate. I could hardly breathe, I was in that much pain, when she demanded I accept her rejection or she would do it again. No, mate. Brandon whimpered. But I had to. The pain was intense, and I know pain. Accepting her rejection was a different kind of pain though, it was like an internal pain. I just squirmed around on the floor. She started swaying. When she falls, I am going to kill her. I told Brandon. How dare she do this to my wolf and embarrass me like that? But the bitch is caught by that bloody interfering general and he is just staring at my mate. My day cannot get any worse, that is until I hear Carly's whinny voice yelling. Oh my fucking goddess. Carly's POV. I hate playing with Freya, she is boring. At least when she is a teenager, I will have more in common with her then. I should at least be Luna, as the old alpha will be dead. I think I may kill him myself if he doesn't hand the pack over to his son soon. Ugh, my mates, the thought disgusts me, I don't even know how I conceived Freya, I barely let them touch me. Elizabeth was coming towards me while we played. I don't like Elizabeth, she didn't treat me in any special way during my labor. But everyone seemed to like her, so I faked our friendship as usual. But she did give me some useful information. I smiled as she approached. That's when she started slapping me. Help. I screamed. Her slaps didn't hurt, but I could enjoy the sympathy for a few days. It was Gamma Davis that apprehended her. He isn't usually that fast, he is as old as Alpha Stan. I ran to Alpha Stan, who makes all the decisions anyway. My mates are useless. I hate them. But they are a way to become Luna. That's when the accusation started that I killed that bitch, Summer. It was her useless brother that left, making the accusations. No one else knew what really happened, other than the 3 members of the Blood Moon Pack that were there. They won't talk, not against me, Daddy would make sure of that. But then that accountant attacked me, that bitch. That has made me work hard for anything in this pack. No freebies. She once told me. I can get my revenge now. I just let her go to town on me. It was painful, but the worse I looked, the worse her punishment would be. The general of the Royal Guard appeared while I was crying on Alpha Stan. The bitch was yelling something. Then Daddy turned up. Who did this to you, baby? He asked, and I gladly told him. She is a dead wolf now, I think to myself. Daddy took no time shifting and racing towards her. He would have killed her too, if it wasn't for that stupid brown wolf. Can I not have any pleasure these days? I guess I did get to kill that bitch for sleeping with my mates when they were younger. It's not that I want them anyway. But I had to show everyone who was in charge back then. What did it get me a crooked face that no one would fix, unless I had my nose broken again, and that wasn't happening. That was when Beta Vincent turned up. The general said the same words to me I had said to her. Why have a beta and do it yourself? No, she was dead, he couldn't know. I made sure no one knew. I shot her twice, she was dead. Beta Vincent was yelling at me to shut up. Daddy told everyone I wasn't where I was supposed to be. What is going on? How do they know all of this? I planned on charming my mates to get out of all of this, it's not like she was important anyway. That is until I saw her. Oh my fucking goddess. How is she alive? Chapter 68. Summer's POV. I stand next to my big brother, General of the Royal Guard. The look on Carly's face. Shock and fear are words I would use to describe the look on Carly's face. Oh my fucking goddess. Are the words out of her mouth as she saw me. Beta Vincent followed her gaze and just stared at me as if I was a ghost. That is before he vomited. I guess the man who I don't know is Carly's father. Nice to see you both again, I said sarcastically. You should be dead, Carly says, just staring at me. Shut up, Carly, Beta Vincent says from the ground. But I ignored him. Why is that, Carly? Because you, Beta Vincent, and your buddies decided to torture me? Or should I be dead because you shot me? I paused. Twice. It was all her idea. I just did as I was told. My job is to do as the Alpha family tell me. General, it was all her idea, Beta Vincent claimed. He must have figured out that Rain is my brother. But you willingly took part in her attempted murder, Rain stated. His shoulders started shaking. I'm sorry, General, I was manipulated. Can't I just be rid of you once and for all? You are no one compared to me, Carly yelled. She really isn't helping herself here. She is watching Beta Vincent beg, which I am guessing doesn't happen very often, and she has stood there declaring she wants rid of me. Obviously not, and my mates are not too happy about you trying to kill me either, I say, smirking. So what, you have mates? I have mates too. There must be loads of people who have mates, mine are alphas though. So, even though I did try and kill you, there is nothing you can do about it. I saw Blake and Zane look at each other. Those poor men must have been put through hell because they looked terrible. Shut up, Carly, Beta Vincent yelled. She was about to say something else when her father told her to shut up as well. She would do well to listen to them, but I can't help but spur her on. Please let her continue, let her get everything off her chest. She is untouchable, because of who she is mated to. That's right, I am untouchable. Once I found out where you were from that stupid relative of mine, bragging about this amazing female doctor she works with. It made me sick every day to look at her. I organized everything, it was a great plan, and I got to hear you scream for hours, then I got kill you, so why the fuck aren't you dead? I actually think she is throwing a tantrum because I am not dead. Alexis wasn't happy about my plan. In fact, no one was happy with my plan, which was to get Carly to confess to everything she had done. By merely being calm, and here she was owning up to everything. But when I explained that although there would be DNA evidence in the mill, when it came down to it, it is her word against mine. Everyone wanted to torture it out of her. But as it was my choice, I decided to go my way. Heard enough, I shouted over everyone. There wasn't a sound. You really think you are untouchable, don't you? Yep, I pretty much am, she said while folding her arms. That's where you're wrong, Carly. You see, you have future twin alpha mates, not alpha twin mates. Technically, they will be soon, she responds. I, however, have twin mates, who are alphas. Nathan and Dawson came forward. People started baring their necks in submission. I am guessing they are both angry and their auras are stronger than usual, but as it doesn't affect me, I stay standing. It hadn't reached Carly yet. I can see her looking at the people bowing on the ground. Actually, Dawson says, her mates aren't alphas. Carly smirked with delight, probably thinking I was lying. Technically, she would be right. Her mates are the alphas of alphas. And you have just confessed to the attempted murder of the Luna Queen. Her face dropped, and so did she. Including her kidnapping and the kidnapping and attempted murder of the princes and princess of the Wolf Kingdom. Their aura must have gone crazy at that point, as everyone who wasn't immune to their aura dropped to their knees. General, take them, I said with a disgusted look on my face. With great pleasure, my queen, Rain said. Alpha Rick tries to protest about his daughter's innocence and that she didn't know I was the queen, as I wasn't marked. Alpha Stan retorted by saying, it shouldn't have mattered who I was. Carly tried to kill Summer and should be subject to the consequences, even if she is his son's mate. Blake and Zane stood shoulder to shoulder with their dad, in agreement I assume. I guess as parents they have to judge what is really important. Which would be their child. What do you want me to do with them, my queen? Rain asked, emphasizing that I was the Luna Queen. When I originally formulated my plan, it wasn't with anger or violence, as that is not what I am about. I always wanted to heal the world. But Alexis wants blood and won't be satisfied until she gets it. Although we share a body and mind, we usually reach an agreement, and this time we had. I am torn, General. By nature I am a healer and I disagree with what they have done. But did they do it because that is their pack way and the way they were raised? Sentencing them to death would mean they only suffer once, when they made me suffer over and over again. We could torture them first. I would take great pleasure in that. Gale suggests. You wouldn't be the only one joining that queue, brother. Rain stated, offering his services. I consider both of my options, but really the decision has already been made. Chapter 69. Blake's POV. I watched my baby girl playing outside in the sunshine. I wish I could be there, but Carly is. If me and Zane go out and join them, she will leave. I despise having to choose between my brother and my mate, but he has to choose as well. Carly made it very clear she didn't want two mates, and we practically had to pretend each one didn't exist. It's soul-destroying having to pretend that my best friend is non-existent, even though we live under the same roof. Freya must be so confused, as me and Zane are rarely seen together. I hope she doesn't grow up thinking she only has one dad or with Carly's beliefs. Carly may be our mate, but her attitude is disgusting. We are talking to Dad again about handing over the pack to us, as he had just celebrated his 60th birthday. We have wanted him to do it for years, but he has always refused because of Carly. But she's pressuring us more and more, so we ask again. I worry that if he doesn't do it soon, she will do something drastic. But since she returned from the Blood Moon Pack, where she spent the duration of the Blue Moon, she has been in a good mood. I wish she was like this more often. Zane's POV. I am watching Blake stare out of the window. I know who he is watching. He is the more loving out of the two of us. I see Carly for what she truly is, a power-hungry diva. She has no remorse at all for what she has done to us, and I worry that she will only get worse if she ever does become Luna. The worst part about it is that she is our fated mate. Goddess blessed, our other half, our better half. I can't help but feel screwed out of this deal. I have wanted to leave for years, but when Carly got pregnant, I knew I had to stay. That was our child she was carrying. I am tied to her forever. I am not sad about it, but I am not happy either, as I have Freya now and she is my baby. I was pulled out of my thoughts when I heard her voice screaming for help. I may not like her, but she is still my mate. Me, Blake and Dad raced for the front door of the pack house. When we got outside, we could see Gamma Davis holding on to the woman that helped deliver Freya. She was mad about something. Carly didn't look too hurt, but when she came running towards us, I thought I may get to embrace her today. But she ran past me and Blake, straight into the arms of our father, who was as shocked as we were. She is our mate. Surely, if anyone should be comforting her, it should be one of us. This is ridiculous now. I looked at my brother in shock. He had the same look on his face. I think right there, at that moment, she showed her true intentions. She doesn't care who Alpha is, she just wants a powerful man to protect her. Mom would be fuming if she was here, not even Dad would mess with her. He may run the pack, but we all know who runs the family. Out of nowhere, Gale Blackwood shows up. I haven't seen Gale for years. He has aged well and looks fit and healthy. But he starts throwing accusations towards Carly about being somewhere else other than the Blood Moon pack recently and shooting someone. I doubt that is true. Who is it she is supposed to have shot? Blake asked. I couldn't believe his answer when he said Summer's name. Carly couldn't still be mad about us sleeping with her all those years ago, could she? Summer did nothing wrong, we were all consenting adults that abided by the pack rules. Summer was amazing, anyone would have been lucky to have been mated with her. Heck, I would have worshipped her if she was my mate. Here Carly is being accused of shooting her. No way. Is she capable? I really don't know. I mean, she was raised in Blood Moon Pack and her dad is a piece of work. But to shoot someone is a bit extreme. But someone did believe it. The growl that was heard was unreal. I never knew any member of the pack could sound like that. You shot my fucking sister? Were the words I heard before discovering they were coming from Autumn Blackwood's mouth. Before she absolutely tore into Carly. Dad couldn't even stop her, she was livid. Carly was a mess by the time the warriors dragged Autumn off her. Autumn was usually so calm and collected. Yes, spiteful and bitter over what happened, but she has never been physical. She always had it out for Carly, making her work the same as everyone else. Or should I say Carly made me and Zane do her work. But she has never been physically violent. She is stronger than I ever realized. If accounting doesn't work out for her, she would make a strong warrior. But what am I thinking about? Carly is hurt and back in my dad's arms. When Rain Blackwood turns up, I really am starting to think Carly may have done what they are accusing her of. He is the general of the Royal Guard. He wouldn't listen to simple accusations without proof. What if she really had shot Summer, because of us? Carly's dad appears and is angry at Autumn for attacking Carly. I don't blame him. I would probably do the same if it was Freya. But he went to attack Autumn. He would have killed her too, if that brown wolf hadn't stopped him. I don't know who he is, but he is being quite protective over Autumn. Eventually, Alpha Rick becomes human, a conversation takes place. I keep up, but it's like a conversation has taken place earlier and I am not aware of it. Where is Freya? My baby shouldn't be seeing any of this. Alpha Rick's beta is escorted in front of the pack house. After words are exchanged, it became apparent that Carly was not where she was supposed to be. Where the hell was she then? And where is Freya? I started looking frantically around for my little girl. That was when I saw her. Summer Blackwood. The beauty of my youth. The woman who took everything me and Zane had to offer and loved it. The last woman made me feel whole. The woman who respected our dad and accepted banishment because of our mate. She was here, she has aged wonderfully. It was then that Carly confirmed that she had organized everything. I don't know the full details, but I do know that it is now over between me and her. She is not the Luna I would want. She carries on berating Summer, saying she can do anything she likes as she is Luna and I will protect her. But I won't, not after this. She is making me sick with the words coming from her mouth. That's when he appeared. The king wolf. Dad showed us a picture once. He has a yellow eye, which distinguishes him as part of the royal family. He takes Summer's hand, but Summer said she had twin alpha mates? When a second man, identical to the Wolf King, took her other hand. My mind is blown when one of them tells us that Summer doesn't have twin alpha mates. But in fact, her mates, the Wolf King and Carly, had just confessed to the attempted murder of the Luna Queen, as well as the attempted murder of the princes and princess of the Wolf Kingdom. Carly has messed up big time. Carly is part of this pack. Has she just killed us all? How will that affect me, Zane and Freya? I can't believe that her jealousy has just killed us and our child.